Hello, welcome to Women Creative. Taking little connection hiccup there. But today we're going to be taking on the second part of that 5-week challenge. Last week we did a little bit of preparation, and this week we are diving into the first of the 4 keys to connection. So let me give you a little bit of background in case you missed the last episode. If you want to get all the juicy details about this challenge and really be completely caught up, you can go back to episode 13, and that is where we did all of the preparation for this challenge. It was really the first step of really getting the most out of this challenge. So, but to give you a quick little overview of what's going on here, in case you missed that, in these 5 weeks, you get to walk with me. I get to walk with you as we take the 4 keys to connection and we apply them and put them into practice, put them to the test, really, to see how when we apply connection, when we purposefully and intentionally create connection in one certain area of our life, how does that do 2 things? First, it helps that area improve, strengthen, grow, however you want to say it. That area of your life gets better. And the second thing is when you taking that phrase, how you do one thing is how you do most things. It's so very true. And so we're looking at, okay, I'm strengthening this area of my life. And how is that, we're going to be very aware of how is that impacting all of the other areas of my life? How am I showing up differently for my life in general? In all of my relationships, whether it be relationships with God or with your husband or with your kids or with your extended family, or maybe it's your relationship with your goals or your vision or your mission. Maybe it's your relationship with money or time. So we talked about all these different areas, and in the last episode, I helped you walk through the connected life wheel so that you could choose which area you want to focus on. Where is the place that is causing you the most pain right now in this season, and the place where you really want to choose to focus on for these next 5 weeks. So that is what's going on. You are all caught up. Again, if you need to go back and do that step, that preparation step, so that you can make that choice of where you want to focus, go back to episode 13. Now, this week, we are focusing on the first key to connection, which is availability. So, what do I mean by availability? Well, when I discovered these 4 keys to connection, really it came to me during a time when I was praying. I was out on a walk and I asked God, I see that I need to create more. I need to be better connected to my family. And that's where this all came from. And I asked God, what is it going to take? And these keys to connection are the words that came to me in that prayer. And so this is what I am sharing with you, because I see how these can make such an impact in my life and in your life. And that's why I am applying them very intentionally over these 5 weeks, so that we can see the huge difference that it's going to make for both me and for you. So, availability, that simply means that whatever is the area of our life that we want to be more connected to so that it can grow and strengthen and improve, we need to make ourselves available to actually intentionally create that connection. So if you're going to make yourself available, then that means we got to talk about our time. And if you are, if time is the area of the connected life wheel that you chose, then this is especially one to pay attention to. But it's still going to, you're still going to need the other keys to connection in order to create a full experience of connection with your time. But even if you didn't choose time, if you chose a different area like I did, I chose the area that is about your mission and your vocation and your goals and your vision. That is the area that I chose. And so, like I said, I am applying the 4 keys to connection to that area of my life and the goals that I have in that area right now. So let's talk about time. Time, as I mentioned last week, if that's an area that you struggle in, it really is an issue of intimacy. And when I say intimacy, I mean really having full awareness and really looking at and being completely aware of how am I occupying my time? Am I spending my time or am I investing my time? So this is a distinction that I want you to think about and look at the things that you tend to do throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your month. And are these things that are giving you a return on your investment? Is it an investment in your life? Or are you spending the time and you get no return and your loved ones get no return on the way that you are occupying that time? So that is incredibly powerful if you get intimate enough with your calendar, with your schedule, in order to see how is that really affecting the rest of my life. So that's what I'm talking about. When we're talking about availability, we can first look at how we are occupying our time, and then you get to make some choices. You get to look at what are the priorities in my life during this season, and do I need to make some adjustments? If I'm seeing places where I am spending my time, is that something that I can eliminate from my calendar completely? Or is it something that I want to hang on to for some reason? Again, you get to choose. So the reason that I love to talk about availability first when we talk about the 4 keys to connection is that it's really, it really helps create a domino effect. It's one of those dominoes that sometimes I talk about, where if you get very connected with your time and very aware and intimate with it, then it makes a huge impact on creating connection and applying the other keys to creating that connection. So what am I doing? So I told you that I'm walking with you for these 5 weeks. So this first week, the focus has been on availability. So the way that I am applying this first key to connection is that I have a tool that is not my tool, but it's what I used to create that awareness around how I am occupying my time and help me make those adjustments that I was talking about. And then it helps me actually apply and practice what I choose for my highest priorities during that season of my life. So the tool that I love to use is actually from one of my coaches. Her name is Lisa Canning. I know I have mentioned her on the show before many times because she's fantastic. And so I love to recommend her course to as many people as I can because I think it's really a fabulous course and so helpful and practical, and it helps you dig deep. And like I said, become very intimate with your calendar. And so the course is called Conquer Your Calendar. And I will include a link in the description of this show where you can go and check out her course and see if that is something that you might be interested in as a tool to practice this first key to connection. And full disclosure, that is an affiliate link. I will get a little bit of benefit if you do choose to invest in her course. But I want to highlight this course a little bit and tell you why I love it so much and why it is so helpful in creating availability so that you can be connected in that area of your life that is causing you so much pain right now. So one of the very first things that she has you do is to think about what are the things that I want to do more of and what are the things that I would like to do less of. And that is really interesting. Like I said, I'm doing this with you this week. And when I did this exercise, I noticed that the things on my list of what I would like to do less of, it was very interesting because I noticed that I basically created a list of shoulds. And I don't know if you've heard me say this before, maybe you've heard it from another life coach, but whenever you notice yourself saying or thinking the word should, some alarms should be going off in your head. Ding, 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 ding. Pay attention because that word is an indicator that there's something maybe a little deeper happening there, something else going on. And I'm going to pound a little bit on the floor of my office because my son is being loud in the basement. Hopefully he'll understand what that means. Anyway, so I had a list of shoulds. So I was looking at these items that I put on the list, and it's like, okay, these are things that I'm not even necessarily doing right now. They are things that I would like done, but again, I am not necessarily doing them. They're things that I tend to avoid doing. I might procrastinate on doing them. I might put them off, or I just avoid them completely and they just don't get done. So it was basically a list of things that should be happening, but they might not be. And so I get to look at each of those items and decide, okay, what is it? What am I thinking about that task that is preventing me from actually doing it? Is it a lack of skill? Is it a lack of passion for doing it? Is it that I am just thinking, is it just feeling like too big of a task for some reason? Yeah, I get to dig a little deeper and think about why is it that these are not happening? And are they things that is there anything there that I can eliminate completely? As I looked at my list, I don't think that there is currently, because like I said, pretty much I want them all to happen. I just don't necessarily want to be the one that does them. And some of those things I just might need to buck up and figure out a way to think of that task differently so that I can feel differently about it, and then I can actually act on it. Because we have the power to do that just by changing the way that we are thinking about something. It creates a different feeling, and those thoughts and feelings lead to different actions. And then the result can be different. The result can be that it actually gets done. And maybe it's not as painful as I thought it might be. So that is one of the very first things in the Conquer Your Calendar course. And then the whole first section is really about awareness. It's about looking at your pain points and looking at what are the priorities in your life. What is the most important thing to you? Or really, it's probably more than one. So what are the most important things to you? And then what's in the gap? That's another term that we life coaches love to use. What is in between where you are and where you want to be? What's in the gap? And very often we will discover that we are having thoughts that are holding you back from taking action. Like I said, those thoughts are the part that we get to change in order to lead to different actions and a different result. So this is what I get to do with my calendar and my list of things that I want to be doing and the things that I don't want to be doing. And then I get to look at reality right now, what actually is happening. How am I currently spending my time? Spending or investing my time. So that is basically sums up the first section of the course. It's all around awareness. And then as I looked at the next part, it's very much about, okay, how do I apply what I just became aware of? How do I apply that to actually creating and planning a week that is in line with my priorities and is in line with the things that I want to do most and the things that I don't want to do so much? How can I make it all fit and make it congruent? And she has some fantastic time-saving strategies. It helps you brainstorm how can it be possible. So many times we get caught up in can't. That I find myself doing this all the time. I think about something that is not the way that I would like it to be, and I look at the way that I want it to be, and I have, like I was just saying in the previous section there, I have these limiting beliefs, these thoughts that involve the word can't. And just a little tidbit here, whenever you notice yourself thinking can't in any situation, challenge yourself to flip that thought to, how can I? In fact, or how could you, if you're talking with someone else. But it actually opens up your brain to actually seek answers for the problem, to seek solutions. If you are thinking, I can't, that actually shuts down your imagination. Your brain no longer goes to work to find a solution. But if you ask yourself instead, how could I? How could it be possible? How could I do that thing that I want to do? One of my favorite questions, what else is possible? So I use this one a lot when I have been working on something and I run into some kind of a hurdle. And I purposefully say run into, because this is a hurdle that I am not successfully jumping over. Instead, I am running smack into it. And that hurts. Have you ever done that? Have you ever run into a hurdle? It hurts. Anyway, so if I run into a hurdle in some strategy, some plan that I had, and something comes up that is preventing me from continuing to run that strategy, to run and implement that plan, my favorite question to ask is, what else is possible? And then, like I said, your brain is going to go to work, use your imagination to find other ideas. So that's a super powerful question. You should use it as often as you can. Every time you notice yourself thinking or saying, can't, how could I? What else is possible? So that is a helpful little tidbit for you. So when we're talking about our time, we can often be saying, I can't do this. I don't have time. But what else is possible? Is there something on my calendar that I cannot remember who it was. Somebody referred to this as like the things on your calendar are occupying a rental space. They are a tenant in that time slot. And if something else needs to come onto your calendar, then something else might need to be evicted. And I am so sorry. I wish I could give credit to where I heard that analogy before, but I think it was very clever. But that's the idea, right? If there's something that that's very important to you and you have decided that that is one of your priorities, there might be something on your calendar that is about to get evicted to make it possible for this other thing that is more important. Is there something on your calendar where you have been spending your time instead of investing it? Those are the things that I would go to first. If it's not an investment, a time investment, maybe that's the one that's going to get evicted to make room for this other task or activity that is more important to you, so that you can be available to create connection with those things that are important, those things and those people who are important to you. So in the second section of Conquer Your Calendar, she even introduces some time-saving strategies that are very, very helpful. And she talks about the importance of self-care also. A lot of times we are so busy serving everyone else. Is that you? I tend to fall into this trap sometimes. We can be so focused outward, which is a fantastic thing, and it's extremely important to focus outward because it's actually very good for you. But sometimes we are so focused outward that we forget that step of taking care of ourselves to make it possible to serve others. If we don't take care of ourselves, if you are if you are skipping that step, you are not going to be at your best for others. And so it makes it more difficult to do the thing that you are on this earth to do. Makes it more difficult to love like God loves. If you haven't filled up your well first. So Lisa Canning does address that important piece in Conquer Your Calendar. And then the last part of the modules in this course is fantastic. It's about staying committed. What are the things that we get to consider in order to keep the commitment that we, to the calendar that we have just created and just conquered? And it's about practicing habits, right? Just because you put something on your calendar and you have created this fantastic, very colorful Google Calendar or whatever kind of calendar that you like to use, just because you've put it on there does not make it magically get done, right? How many times have we redone our calendar, made it all pretty, and then we don't actually commit to doing what we said we were going to do? I am very much guilty of that. And when I notice this happening and I'm struggling to follow through with what I have put on my calendar, then that is sort of a flag for me to go back and do a reboot. I go back to Lisa's course and I conquer my calendar again. And usually I try to do this maybe every quarter or so. Because, hey, seasons change, right? We're in summertime right now as I'm recording this. And so the kids have a different schedule. I have a different schedule. And different, there's more things on the calendar that are like family activities, and we get to do more fun stuff. We're going on trips. We just got back from a trip yesterday, which is why this episode is being recorded a day later than usual. But it's all good. We are making it happen. But my point is, things change in the different seasons of our life and different seasons of our year. And so it's a very important step, and Lisa includes it in her course. She talks about the importance of regular reviews. And this isn't just quarterly like I'm talking about, but really the reviews are important to do even daily or at least weekly, because things are going to come up day to day and week to week, and you're going to get to make adjustments on that calendar. If you don't stay connected to the calendar and aware of where your time is going and how it's being occupied, then you're going to create this pretty calendar and it's going to sit there and you're not going to stick with it because it then becomes obsolete. It's kind of like a piece of technology that has not been updated. As we go through life, we have different requirements. We have different needs. And so like an old piece of technology might not serve you so well anymore. Same goes for your calendar. If it has not been updated on a regular basis and moved in the things that really need to happen, and you haven't evacuated the tenants that, and really cleaned it up. Evacuate those things that are spending your time instead of investing it. And we get to do this on a regular basis to keep it effective and so that it's still serving you. So that section of the course is really about how you can stay committed to this calendar and on a deeper level, it's not just about staying committed to the calendar. It's staying committed to what that calendar makes possible. So this calendar helps you be available for the things that matter the most. It helps you be available to create connection in your relationships, with your goals, in your relationship with your finances. Again, all of the things on that wheel that are so important to you. Even this availability applies so much to also your relationship with God. Are you creating time in your calendar, in your schedule, to have time in prayer, to have a stronger connection with God? Availability is the very first key to creating that connection. So, again, I will leave a link in the description of this episode for Lisa's Conquer Your Calendar course. And for the rest of this week, I am going to be finishing up going through the course myself, and I will, by the end of this week, okay, so let me make a commitment here. By Saturday, I am going to complete the course, and I'm going to have my new calendar ready to go. And I am going to be very connected to why it is important that I follow through with what I have placed on that calendar. And so that's what I am up to this week. I am applying it, especially as I'm doing this step, because the area of the connected life wheel that I chose is with my vocation and mission and vision and or career. I forget exactly the way that I worded it on the wheel, but you get the idea. I will be creating blocks of time where I will be available to work on tasks that are related to that goal. Now, I want to, again, strengthen that area of the connected life wheel without sacrificing the other areas that are important to me. And so I get to create a block of time, like I said, and by doing that and staying committed to staying focused during that time on what I am working on the specific tasks of that day, by staying focused on that, I actually free up time in the rest of my calendar for the other things that are important that probably fall on that connected life wheel in the other areas. See how when you're working on one area, it helps improve the other areas as well? This is how it is all connected. So that's what I will be up to this week and for the rest of this week. And I've committed to completing that by the end of the day on Saturday. And next week, we are going to be talking about the next key to connection, and that is presence. It's very much related to availability, to this first key, but it's a little bit different. Because again, just because you put something on your calendar doesn't mean that you are committed to sticking with it and following through with that task on your calendar. And it also doesn't mean that you are fully focused on that task during that time. So I should say task or activity, because sometimes the things that you're putting on your calendar is just time with your family. Maybe it is family dinner night. That's something that's super important to you. It is to me, and that is on my calendar for sure. And I literally put on my calendar, connect with my kids, connect with this certain kid. Maybe during that time, I'm going to seek them out, whatever they're doing, and I'm going to create connection in that moment. So those are some things that we can talk about a little bit more. But like I was saying, with the presence key that we're going to be talking about next week, just because you put something on your calendar doesn't mean that you are fully present during that time. So next week, we're going to talk about what that means exactly to be present and what are why it's important, and what are some strategies that you can use to be more present for the things that matter the most, for that area of your life that you're working on, and also, anything that's on your calendar. How can I be present during that time for the thing that I said that I was going to do? How can I keep my word in that area? So that's our topic next week. And we will be back on Wednesday for that live show. And I look forward to seeing you then. I hope this has been helpful today. Please leave a comment and let me know, what is the area of, creating availability? What's the most challenging thing for you when it comes to, creating a calendar so that you can be available for the things that matter the most to you? What's the hardest part for you? So share that for me in the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. And until next week, God bless you and all those that you love, and I'll see you soon. Bye.